I enjoy checking in on the work and findings of the Pew Research Center from time to time. They have several different categories of work, ranging from U.S. politics to internet and tech to social trends, but I'm most interested in the religion tab. Their most recent survey and findings were published on October the 8th under the title, "What Lessons Do Americans See for Humanity in the Pandemic?" 86% of respondents answered that yes, they do believe there is a lesson for humankind to learn from the coronavirus outbreak. No surprises there. But here's where it gets interesting. Of the yes respondents, 35% believe that the coronavirus outbreak is a lesson sent by God. Alternatively, 37% do not believe that the coronavirus outbreak was a lesson sent by God. And another 13% don't believe in God to begin with. I try to tread with great caution when assigning actions or events to God's doing. It is extremely problematic to say that the coronavirus pandemic or any other global catastrophe, hurricanes, flooding, or drought, are God's doing or will or plan. I can imagine the course of thinking. God sends plagues upon the Egyptians in Exodus. God allows calamities to fall upon Job to test his faith. And the prophets employ the vivid imagery of furnace and fire. Ron Allen writes that, given the amount and intensity of evil in the world today, according to this viewpoint, God should have destroyed the world by now. I tend to agree. I can only imagine that a loving God has better tactics at her disposal to lead humanity toward faith and repentance than fear and destruction. The coronavirus is not the rapture at hand. The coronavirus is not prophecy playing out. The coronavirus is not a divine lesson. Especially when the coronavirus has already caused the death of over 1 million of God's people, disproportionately affecting vulnerable and minority populations, the very people God calls us to protect. If the coronavirus isn't a lesson sent by God, then what lessons shall we learn? Here's what a few people in the survey said they learned. Use this time to know God better. Receive as a gift this time of less activity and immerse yourself in quiet contemplation for personal spiritual growth. Develop gratitude in the midst of the current situation. Pray for the sick and unemployed. We don't need all the materialistic things. Value humankind and intimacy. To appreciate and love each other, to be thankful for our blessings. To empathize with each other, to be considerate of others, to appreciate all of those who serve and work with the public, treat them well, and compensate them well. It's important to occasionally take a step back and focus on your well-being and your relationships with those you love. Working and spending your time and money isn't what life is about. What about you? What lessons have you learned in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic?